help them out. I want to answer from you what is an amendment, what is an article, and what is an act. Because we have been discussing this from a long period of time. I want you all to answer this now. Yes.
Ma'am, amendment is the already existing rule and which is been implemented by doing small changes.
Implemented by doing small changes, okay?
Act is the rules passed by the government which everyone has to follow. Article.
Okay.
Article means there are some constitution rules which is related to special, like girl child, like there is rule for SCSTs, and these are all articles which everyone has to be like follow, and there are some special coverages for them, like percentage of coverages.
So anybody else who can explain me in detail? No, yes, Ramani, you're good, ma. Thank you. What you said is right. I want anybody else who can describe me in a detailed form. What is an amendment? What is an article? What is an act? These all belongs to Constitution of our India. We have been discussing it from so many days. So because today we are going to speak about Right to Education Act. So what is this act? What is an article? What is an amendment? If anybody of you knows, please let me know. Otherwise, I am going to explain you in detail. Okay, ma. As per the Indian Constitution, amendment is nothing but...
Article is the rules and the regulation.
Article is the rules and regulation. Yes, Sangmitra?
Which are... article is the rules and regulations which are passed in the Indian Constitution, whereas whereas amendment is the changes which are made to that article.
Changes which are made to the article. Yes, you're right. So, Ramani and Sanghamitra, okay, ma. So, let me discuss in detail about this. We are speaking about Indian Constitution. In that, amendment is nothing but, ma'am, it is a way by which any changes are made to the Constitution as per the need of the present situation, that or for the well-being of the people. Amendments అనేవి మార్పులు కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లో according to the situation of the people. If there is a need of change in the constitution, that is called as amendment. There are about 100 amendments which have been taken place from past when the constitution preamble was made. So ఒక 100 amendments అన్న మార్పులు ఉన్నాయి. I'm again telling you, I'm speaking about the amendments which are there in the constitution. Amendments are nothing but it is a way by which any changes are made into the constitution for the well-being of the people, especially for the well-being of the people and as per the need of the present situation. You have to have that clause because istam vachinattu marchadaniki constitution does not allow that. So as per the need of the person, of the people, which will help for the well-being of the people, not only that, and as per the need of the present situation. So there are about 100 amendments changed in the Indian Constitution. Now coming to what is an article, as few of your friends told, that is right. Article are total number of topics in a book, ma. Generalized ga oka book lo any topics untayi. For example, we take Constitution as a book. In this book there are about 395 articles. That is 395 topics. Articles and topics. For example, we take a newspaper, ma. Newspaper lo when we see similar to subsections of the book, example, a newspaper. For example, we take a newspaper. In that newspaper, we have a blog for sports category. So that is an article, that is a topic. Under that sports category, we have various number of information about cricket, about football, about Olympics, about tennis, about people, what cricket is there today, what kind of match is going on. Everything comes under these articles. So there are about 395 topics or articles in the constitution, and these 395 articles are divided into 22 parts. So articles are these, amendments are the changes, articles are the topics, number of topics which covers over 395 395 395 topics in a one book, which is called as an article, which is in the book of Constitution. And these 395 articles are divided into 22 parts. So we spoke about what is amendment, we spoke about what is article. Now coming to act, acts are act law. Yes, act law, there are forms. Yes, Masirisha.
Ma'am, 395 articles, 22 parts అంటే each 22 లేక మొత్తం ఒక సెట్ ఆఫ్ మొత్తం 22 అన్నట్టు డివైడ్ అయిందా మ్యామ్?
లేదు, 395 లోనే 22 పార్ట్స్ గా డివైడ్ అయింది. మళ్ళీ ఆ 22 పార్ట్స్ లో సబ్ డివిజన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మళ్ళీ దట్ ఈస్ అ వెరీ వాస్ట్ టాపిక్. మళ్ళీ నేను అందులోకి ఐ జస్ట్ వాంట్ యు ఆల్ టు నో డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ అమెండ్మెంట్, ఆర్టికల్ అండ్ యాక్ట్. సో ఆర్టికల్ లో 395 టాపిక్స్ ఉన్నాయి. 395 ఆర్టికల్ టాపిక్స్ లో 22 డివిజన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మళ్ళీ 22 డివిజన్స్ లో there are again sub divisions in that, and in that sub divisions there are parts. So it is a very vast topic. Only what is mentioned, what I wanted to tell you in the class, I am only discussing on that. One day we will discuss everything about Constitution when we come back to this college. So that is article. Now coming to act. Act is nothing but it is framed from time to time as per the need. That is amendments law. Act అనేది ఇవ్వబడుతుంది. It is when there is a change, that is when there is an amendment, act అనేది frame చేయబడుతుంది. That is act is framed from time to time as per the need. For example, however the acts అనేది, for example, I'll give you a true meaning of it. It is a law passed by the Parliament of India. Act అనేది, it is a law passed by the Parliament of India. That is law passed by both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Any law which is passed by both the parliaments, that is the Rajya Sabha, which is passed by the parliament, any law passed by the Parliament of India, that is both the governing bodies, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, is called as act. So e act ni teeskochi amendment through changes they will get into the Constitution. So act is a law that is framed from time to time. It has been changed as per the need of the children, as per the need of the Constitution. So however the act has then you have to remember this act should be according to the it does not go beyond that. It should be with the help of the constitutional needs only acts are made. They cannot made on their own. Kotta acts cheyadaniki ledu. So amendment is what all changes we can take place in the Constitution with the help of for the well-being of the people and the need of the present situation. What all changes takes place in the Constitution is called as amendment. Article is nothing but it is a topics. These are topics which are mentioned in the Constitution. These topics may have any number of parts, which topic or single topic but discussed in all areas. And next one is the act we spoke about. Act is nothing but it is a law passed by the Parliament of India, that is both law passed by the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha. This is called as, this is the difference. Yes ma'am, Sangamitra.
Ma'am, amendments will be followed by act, ma'am.
Amendments ante the system lo marpu
after the amendment.
Yes, see that is what yeah, tell me ma Sangamitra, tell me.
Ma'am, after deciding what to change, then it will be then the act will be passed accordingly.
Is
that so, ma'am?
Yes, need of the present situation law. So that change of term is called as amendment.
Yes, okay ma'am.
Okay, now coming to Right to Education Act. Now I told you the difference. The main reason for you all to know the difference between this is because you will be coming through many of these acts, amendments, articles, but you will be getting confused what is difference between them. That is the reason I just gave a little information about that. So now coming to Right to Education Act 2009, RTA 2009, in that 86th Amendment of Indian Constitution, in the 86th Amendment of Indian Constitution, Act 2002. So in the year 2002, this act was inserted into the 21A of Indian Constitution. So 86th Amendment law, Constitution, we speak the Constitution 86th Amendment Act 2002 was inserted into Article 21A of the Indian Constitution. It was inserted and amendment jarigindi 2002 lo, but this act has been inserted into the 86th Amendment of Indian Constitution, and this came into force in the year 2009 and got implemented in the year 2010, 1st April. So the Article 21A of Indian Constitution clearly states about free and compulsory education to all the children, which comes under the act called Right to Education. So Right to Education is an act which has been inserted, don't get confused, which has been inserted into 86th amendment during 2002 only. 2002 lo act which has been inserted in 86th amendment of Indian Constitution, but came into force on 2009 and got implemented on 2010 April 1st. Don't get confused, because there will be a sure for a question on this Right to Education Act. So when you write all this information, it will be helpful. As soon as a person who is going to correct your paper will know that you know something about Right to Education. Now coming to Right to Education Act, I already spoke. It is in the Article 21A of Indian Constitution, which provides free and compulsory education to all the children. Now India became one of the 135th country to make education a fundamental right. Fundamental right. I already told you 21A is a fundamental right, and Article 45 is not a fundamental right, but it is a article which mentions free and compulsory education. So India became the 135th country to make education a fundamental right. So this is all about right to education. Now coming to what are the, for example, silent features of RTE Act 2009. So what does this Right to Education Act speaks about? What are its main features and what are its application into the school system? We are going to discuss few points which is already given in your textbook, but more information I'm going to give you. I'll try to explain. The first one is the free and compulsory education. As already mentioned, it is free and compulsory education on basis of this RTA Act, whether it is RTA Act or whether it is Article 45 or whether it is 21A article, everything speaks about free and compulsory education to all the children below the age group of, from the age group 6 to below the age group of 14 years. So now coming to the first silent feature is that. Now second one is the main criteria to implement RTA in the Constitution is to eradicate school fees. The main idea is not to collect school fees, no school fees, no tuition fees, no charges or no expenses are to be paid by the child at the elementary stage. Not only in the elementary stage, till they complete their 10th class, till the higher secondary stage. So the main criteria or the main focus of RT education is to give free education to everybody. That is no school fees, no capitation fees, no what they say is for example no tuition fees, no charges or no expenses to give them good education. So that is the second silent features. That is no to everything. For example, no tuition fees, no school fees, no capitation fees, no charges, nothing. The only thing they have to do is come sit in the classroom, get them educated and leave the school. So that is the main criteria. First is free and compulsory education. Under that, you know what are the silent features we are discussing. The first one is free from all kinds of fees. As now the private schools are collecting, there is nothing sort of fees to be paid by the parents when they are enrolled in a government school, which is provided under RTA Education Act. Now coming to the third one is the child or the parents. When you go to a private schools, there are some schools where both the father as well as the mother are to be educated. At least they should be minimum qualification is postgraduates. They should be at least complete their PGs. either of the parents has to first at least both of them should be graduates, or either of one of the parent should complete their PGs. So there are some schools which are forcing their, for example, if as we parents want to join our children into so and so schools, in a good reputed schools, it is must and should that both the parents should go for an interview. Both the parents go for interview and they see to it that at least one of the parent is a postgraduate. So that system is not there in our Right to Education Act. The prime third silent feature is the child or his parents are not to be subjected to any screening procedure. Whether it is a child or whether the parents are not subject to any screening, and also for mental and physical harassment. This act clearly states that the situation around the school system should be free. That is no fear, fearless. Because when compared to the other institutions in the private sector, there are some schools which says that parents as well as the child has to go for an interview. There is a screening test procedure where after everything, if they pass, then there will be admission. But under RTA Act, there is no such thing has to be given. That is, child or the parents are not to be subjected to screening procedure or admission to school, and also there should be no mental or physical harassment either by the government or by the school administrators. So we are speaking about Right to Education Act, government sector. These act is applicable to the government sectors. I hope it would be applicable even to the private schools, because there are many children who wanted to go to many good reputed schools, but due to this sort of admission format, that is, the parents has to be taken into interview, and then child will go inside and give an interview, and again their education qualification, their background, these all stupid things are not there. So first, this is one of the major silent feature in RTA. Now next one is the Right to Education Act. The next silent feature when compared to the school system, it is pupil-teacher ratio. Pupil-teacher ratio plays a major role, because it says, pupil-teacher ratio is 1:30. If 30 students are there, there should be one teacher. So they maintain pupil-teacher ratio. According to RTA Education Act, that is Right to Education Act, it is must and should that government schools have to maintain this pupil-teacher ratio. That is 1:30. But for poor sake, many of the government schools are not maintaining it. There are n number of schools. In schools, for example, there are 60 or 50 students in one classroom, but very less faculty. But according to RTA Education Act, the prime silent features pupil-teacher ratio. They see to it. According to this act, they have to see to it that 30 students, one teacher. 60 students, two teachers. All 60 to 90 students, there should be three teachers. That is ratio 1:30. So according to that, you can calculate. And next one is, next silent feature is make provision for non-admitted children. For example, teachers or the government, with the help of resource persons, they have to see to it that with the help of the resource person, they have to see to it, if any children are not admitted into the schools, the teachers or the resource persons have the duty to admit these children into the school. That is, if they think or if they see, or this resource persons, if they see that any child is not going to school without any proper reason, they can take these children and readmit them into the school. So under this act, this is one of the feature which is linked up with the school system. That is, if they feel, if any child is not going to school, if they feel without any proper reason, the resource person or the teacher or anybody or well-wisher, they can take them and admit them into school without any compulsion or without, because it is a free education. There is no need to pay anything. As it is a free education, they can readmit them into the school. And also appointment of teacher. Appointment of teacher plays a vital role in this one, because according to the basic needs, and for example, appointment of the teacher is done according to the examinations. That is, when they complete their BD course or when they write the DSC or TET or something, appointment of the teacher also plays a major role. That is, many of the schools are not maintaining this pupil teacher ratio, and there are less opportunity for the teachers, but more educators are there, but less opportunity for them to be appointed. So next one is, if a school, for example, if a school does not provide a child with good education, I'm again repeating, if a school does not provide facility to complete elementary education or any school education, then a child of that school can take a transfer to another school, whether it is a government one or whether it is a government aided school. For example, if a child of a certain locality is not happy with the education there, so he can take a transfer and go to the school where he feels comfortable, where he feels the education system or the teachers teaching there are good. He has that liability to take a transfer certificate and go and join in the school which he wanted. So that facility is also given under Right to Education Act. If a child is not interested, or if a child is not given proper, for example, if a child is not given proper facility to complete his education, he can take the transfer certificate and go and rejoin in the school which he wanted. It may be a government school or it may be a government aided school. Now coming to the next point, it is this is the next silent feature we are discussing, and also the government should see to it, according to Right to Education Act, the government should see to it that a child, for example, a school should be built within a 1 kilometer distance for walking. It should be helpful within the radius of 1 kilometer in the elementary level. That is, whether it may be Anganwadi schools or it may be elementary school, it should be within the 1 kilometer of the habitation, that the children should be or able to go to school on their own by walking. So it should be under the radius of 1 kilometer only, that is habitation. Within the habitation of 1 kilometer only, the elementary schools are to be built. And when you speak about the secondary education, it should be 3 to 5 kilometers of radius. That is, the child has to be given free access to go to school, even when there are no people to drop them or pick them up, or when there is no road transportation. Children should be able to go to school through walk. So if he comes under elementary, it is only 1 kilometer radiation. That is, it should be in the town or in the village or the place children stay. It should be 1 kilometer away from their habitation. And when you speak about secondary education, 3 to 5 kilometers for children who are secondary educated. That is, higher schools are to be built within the radius of 3 to 5 kilometers and elementary schools within the radius of 1 kilometer according to Right to Education Act. Another silent feature is 25% of the seats in the private school are to be reserved for RTA students. You have to see this. Many of the schools or many of the children doesn't know. 25% of the seats are to be reserved, especially in the private schools, for Right to Education Act children. That is, who are below poverty, who are SCs, who are STs, who are BCs, who are not accessible to school or who cannot pay fees, that is, who are below poverty line. Those kind of students can be admitted into private schools because according to the constitution or according to this act, there is 25% of reservation in every school, which are funded by the government. So the central as well as the state shares the joint responsibility to provide funds to RTA. That is, in a private institution, 25% of reservation are given under the RTA Act, especially for the below poverty level and unprivileged children. We can call them unprivileged children. So these 25% seats in the private schools are funded by the central as well as the state takes the funding. These takes the responsibility to provide funds to these kind of children who are admitted into private schools because 25% of reservation is given under Right to Education Act. This is also one of the silent feature of RTA education, that is Right to Education Act, which clearly says that 25% of reservation has to be given in a private sectors. 25% is not a big one, especially these will be for the below poverty line people and unprivileged people can be admitted into the normal school, private school system, because 25% of reservation is kept for them, and funding is given both by the central as well as the state. And also the curriculum, the school curriculum under this RTE Education Act or Right to Education Act, it clearly says that the school has to ensure all-round development of a child and practice inclusion without demanding admission to any child on any ground. So when we were speaking about inclusive education under this act, that is Right to Education Act, the parents or the students or the administrators cannot stop the children from educating themselves. That is, if a child is a deaf or if a child is a dumb or if a child have some, for example, who are called as children with special needs. If such children wanted to join in these schools, the administration cannot stop them from admitting into schools according to Right to Education Act. That is, the school has to ensure all-round development of a child and practice inclusion without denying admission to any child of any or on any grounds. So irrespective of their illness, whether it would be children with special needs or children who does not have parents or any sort of or any grounds, they cannot deny. The main motto is to give free and compulsory education to everybody. Another last feature we are going to speak about Right to Education Act today in the class is about the curriculum. The curriculum should be built in such a way, according to RTA Act, the curriculum should be built in such a way which will be value enriched. Much of values which are enriched in the Constitution, and also to ensure the all-round development of a child, and also to build their innate abilities, to bring out those abilities, their knowledge, their potential talent, and also they should be free from fear. So curriculum in the schools should be built in such a way according to RTE Act. That is, how it should be built. It should be the all-round development of a child, and also they should have a good values for the Indian Constitution, enriched good values for the Indian Constitution, and also they should get out those knowledge and also their potential talents, and also free from compulsion and free from fear, free from trauma. So all these are mentioned in Right to Education Act. There is under these act there are features for everybody. It is for the teachers, it is for the students, it is for the administration, it is for the especially the government, and also government should see to it that everybody will avail these kind of acts which are present in the Indian Constitution. So today in the class we spoke everything about Right to Education Act, which was inserted in 2002 in the 86th Amendment and came into force on 2009 and got implemented on April 1st, 2010. So these have many silent features, very good silent features. That is, free and compulsory education should be given to the children below the age of 14 years. Not only that, no screening test for parents, or no interviews, or no admission fees, or no tuition fees for the children. And 25% of reservation in a private schools are really meant for these children who are unprivileged under the RTA Act, which is funded by both the central and the state government. And also pupil-teacher ratio 1:30 are to be maintained by the government and government-aided schools under these act. And also the all-round development of a child in the curriculum. The curriculum should be built in such a way that child will have an all-round development. Simply to say, the child-centered curriculum under this act. Not only that, appointments of a teacher plays a major role. Not only that, if a child is not, he is a dropout, it is a duty of the teacher or Vidya volunteers or the resource persons to readmit them into the schools. Not only that, and also to see to it, if a child is not interested in so and so school, if he feels that a maths teacher or a physics teacher or a social teacher is not giving them good education, if they feel they wanted to go to another school, whether it is a government or government aided school, they can take the free transfer and go and admit into the other school, or go and take an admission into an other school. So these all are the important silent features of RTA education. So amma ee roju manam class lo విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం గురించి మాట్లాడుకున్నామమ్మా. విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టము 2002 సంవత్సరంలో కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అమెండ్మెంట్ 86వ అమెండ్మెంట్ మార్పు జరిగినప్పుడు ఈ యాక్ట్ ని కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లోకి ఇన్సర్ట్ చేశారు. ఈ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లోకి ఇన్సర్ట్ చేశారు. క్లాస్ బిగినింగ్ లో అమెండ్మెంట్ అంటే ఏంటి, ఆర్టికల్ అంటే ఏంటి, తర్వాత ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అమెండ్మెంట్ ఏంటి, ఆర్టికల్ ఏంటి, యాక్ట్ ఏంటి, డిఫరెన్సెస్ మనం ఫస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో చూసుకున్నాం. అమెండ్మెంట్ అంటే అక్కడున్న పరిస్థితులను బట్టి, మనుషుల అభిప్రాయాలను బట్టి కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ని దృష్టిలో ఉంచుకొని అమెండ్మెంట్ లో మార్పులు తీసుకొస్తారు. ఆర్టికల్ అనేవి టాపిక్స్ అమ్మ. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక పేపర్ లో స్పోర్ట్స్ సెక్షన్ వేరేగా, సినిమా సెక్షన్ వేరేగా, వెదర్ సెక్షన్ వేరేగా, ఎలాగ డిఫరెంట్ టాపిక్స్ కింద ఎన్ని సబ్ డివిజన్స్ ఉంటాయో ఆర్టికల్స్ కూడా 395 టాపిక్స్ మీద ఆర్టికల్స్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లో ఇవ్వబడింది. ఈ 395 ఇప్పుడు 400గా కూడా చెప్పొచ్చు. యాజ్ పర్ నౌ 400 ఉన్నాయి అన్నారు, బట్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ప్రిపేర్ అయినప్పుడు 395 టాపిక్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అందులో 22 సబ్ డివిజన్స్ డివైడ్ గా ఇవ్వబడింది. అందులో ఇంకా 22 ఇంకా ఉన్నాయి. తర్వాత యాక్ట్ అనేది ఒక లా పాస్ చేయబడింది. దేనిది? గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా నుంచి. అది లోక్సభ, రాజ్యసభ ఆమోదంతో ఒక లా అనేది క్రియేట్ చేయడమే యాక్ట్ అంటారు. అమెండ్మెంట్ కి, ఆర్టికల్ కి, యాక్ట్ కి తేడా అది. సో ఈ మూడింటి తేడాతో మనం ఈ రోజు క్లాస్ ఏంటంటే విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం గురించి చదువుకున్నాం. విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టము 2009లో ముఖ్యంగా ఎలిమెంటరీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ మీద ఎక్కువగా ఫోకస్ చేయబడిందమ్మా. కానీ ఈ విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం ప్రాముఖ్యత ఏంటంటే ముఖ్యంగా ప్యూపుల్ టీచర్ రేషియో అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ దాన్ని PTR అంటారమ్మా. అంటే ఉపాధ్యాయ విద్యార్థి నిష్పత్తి. ఈ ఉపాధ్యాయ విద్యార్థి నిష్పత్తి అంటే 30 మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ కి ఒక టీచర్ ఉండాలి, లేదా 60 మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ కి 2 టీచర్స్ ఉండాలి, 90 మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ కి 3 టీచర్స్ ఉండాలి. ముఖ్యమైన లక్షణం అది. ఇంకొకటి ఏంటంటమ్మా, పిల్లలకి ఎలాంటి ఫీజు అనేది లేకుండా, స్కూల్ ఫీజు కానీ, ట్యూషన్ ఫీజు కానీ, క్యాపిటేషన్ ఫీజు కానీ, లేదా తదితర ఫీజెస్ ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్లో ఎలా తీసుకుంటారో అలాంటి ఫీజెస్ ఏమి కూడా ఈ ఆర్టీఏ యాక్ట్ ప్రకారం కట్టాల్సిన అవసరము లేదు. ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే తల్లిదండ్రులకు ఎలాంటి ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ ఇవ్వబడవు. ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ ఇప్పుడు కొన్ని ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్స్ లో మనం చూస్తే తల్లిదండ్రులు పిల్లలు కూడా ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ ఎల్కేజీలో ఉన్నప్పుడే వాళ్ళకి ఇంటర్వ్యూ జరుగుతుంది. అదే కాకుండా తల్లిదండ్రులు ఖచ్చితంగా పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేట్స్ ఉండాలి, డిగ్రీ చదివిన వాళ్ళు ఉండాలని కొన్ని స్కూల్స్ లో ఇప్పటికీ ఆ రూల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. కానీ ఆర్టీఈ యాక్ట్ ప్రకారము అలాంటిది ఏమీ లేదు. విద్య అందరికి ఇవ్వబడాలి. తల్లిదండ్రుల చదువును బట్టో, పిల్లల చదువును బట్టో కాదు, పిల్లలందరూ కూడా చదువుకునే అర్హత వాళ్ళకు ఉన్నది అనేది ఈ యాక్ట్ కింద వచ్చిన ఏమంటారంటమ్మా ప్రధాన అంశాలమ్మా. ఇంకో అంశం గురించి మాట్లాడుకున్నట్టయితే ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్స్ లో 25% రిజర్వేషన్ ముఖ్యంగా ఇలాంటి పిల్లలు అంటే ఎస్సీ బడుగు వర్గాలు అంటారు కదా, ఎస్సీ ఎస్టీ బీసీ పిల్లలకు ప్రతి ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్లో 25% రిజర్వేషన్ అంటే 25% సీట్లు ఇలాంటి పిల్లల కోసం రిజర్వేషన్ చేయబడింది ఈ యాక్ట్ కిందన. ఈ 25% పిల్లలకు ఎవరు డబ్బులు ఇస్తారు? మరి ప్రైవేట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ కనుక. లక్షణాల గురించి ప్రైవేట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ లో 25% రిజర్వేషన్ ఇలాంటి పిల్లల కోసం ఇవ్వబడిందమ్మా. ఇంకోటి, ఒకవేళ పిల్లలు ఎవరైనా ఎనీ రీజన్ లేకుండా డ్రాప్ అవుట్స్ ఉండి, లేదా ఊరికేనే రోడ్డు మీద తిరుగుతూ అసలు చదువు లేకుండా ఉన్న పిల్లల్ని విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ అంటే వాళ్ళ కుటుంబ సభ్యులకి చెప్పైనా కానీ ఎవరైనా తీసుకెళ్లి వాళ్ళని గవర్నమెంట్ స్కూల్స్ లో జాయిన్ చేయొచ్చు ప్రాపర్ రీజన్స్ చెప్పి. ఇది బాధ్యత కూడా ఈ ఆర్టీఐ ఇది కూడా ప్రధాన అంశంగా ఈ విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం కింద చెప్పబడిందమ్మా. అదే కాకుండా పిల్లలకి చైల్డ్ సెంటర్డ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్. ఇన్ని రోజులు ఎలా ఉండేదంటే ఆల్రౌండ్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఎ చైల్డ్, ముఖ్యంగా అంటే వాళ్ళ జ్ఞానాన్ని, వాళ్ళకున్న తలాంతులను ముఖ్యంగా బయటకు తీసుకొచ్చే కరికులం బిల్ట్ చేయాలనేది ఈ యాక్ట్ యొక్క ముఖ్య లక్షణం, అంటే ముఖ్య అంశాల్లో ముఖ్యమైనదమ్మా. అంటే పిల్లలు భయపడొద్దు, సబ్జెక్ట్స్ అంటే భయపడొద్దు, భయము లేని అట్మాస్ఫియర్ అనేది క్లాస్ రూమ్స్ లో క్రియేట్ చేయాలనేది ఈ యాక్ట్ యొక్క చట్టము. ఇంకోటి ముఖ్యమైన లక్షణం ఏంటంటమ్మా, ఒకవేళ ఒక స్టూడెంట్ కి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ దగ్గరలో కొన్ని స్కూల్స్ ఉంటాయి, ఆ స్కూల్స్ లో వీళ్ళు ఫ్రెండ్స్ గా కలుసుకున్నప్పుడు వీళ్ళకి ఒకవేళ మ్యాథ్స్ లో కానీ ఫిజిక్స్ ఎనీ సబ్జెక్ట్ లో వాళ్ళకి టీచింగ్ వాళ్ళకి ఆ స్కూల్లో సరిగ్గా అనిపించకపోతే, లేదా ఒక ప్రాపర్ రీజన్ తో వాళ్ళు అక్కడి నుంచి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అయిపోతే ఈ స్కూల్ నుంచి వేరే స్కూల్ కి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ తీసుకొని వెళ్ళి వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అవ్వచ్చు. ఎనీ గవర్నమెంట్ ఎయిడెడ్ స్కూల్లో వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళి మళ్ళీ జాయిన్ అవ్వచ్చు. ఇలాంటి ఫెసిలిటీ కూడా ఈ ఆర్టీఈ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ యాక్ట్ 2009 లో ఇవ్వబడింది. ముఖ్య లక్షణం ఏంటంటే పిల్లలందరికీ కూడా ఎలాంటి అడ్డంకులు కానీ ఏమీ లేకుండా వాళ్ళకి ఉచిత విద్య ఇవ్వబడాలి, విద్య అందరికీ ఇవ్వబడాలి. ఇంకో లక్షణం ఏంటంటే ఒకవేళ పిల్లలు దివ్యాంగులు కానీ ఇలాంటి పిల్లలు ఎవరైనా అలాంటి స్కూల్స్ లో అడ్మిట్ అవ్వాలనుకున్నప్పుడు టీచర్ కానీ ఫ్యాకల్టీ కానీ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ కానీ లేదా ఎవ్వరు ప్రిన్సిపల్ కానీ అలాంటి పిల్లలు మా స్కూల్లో జాయిన్ చేయొద్దు అని అనడానికి వీలు లేదు. ఎలాంటి స్థితిలో ఉన్నా వాళ్ళని అడ్మిట్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఏంటి, వాళ్ళ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ బట్టి మేము ఈ స్కూల్లో చదవాలనుకుంటున్నాం మేడం, మేము అట్లీస్ట్ వచ్చి కూర్చొని వింటాం అని అనుకున్నప్పుడు కూడా వాళ్ళని వద్దు అనడానికి వాళ్ళకి హక్కు లేదు. ఈ విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం ప్రకారం ఇది చెప్పబడుతుందమ్మా. పిల్లలందరికీ ఉచితమైన విద్య, నాణ్యత గల విద్య ఇవ్వాలనేది అంశం గనుక వాళ్ళని ఎలాంటి గ్రౌండ్స్ లో కూడా వద్దు అనడానికి వీలు లేదు. ఇంకోటంటే ఎలిమెంటరీ స్కూల్ పిల్లలకి కూడా ఇప్పుడు మనుషులు నివసిస్తున్న స్థలం నుంచి 1 కిలోమీటర్ దూరంలోనే ఎలిమెంటరీ స్కూల్ ఉండాలి, ఖచ్చితంగా కట్టబడాలి. అక్కడ పిల్లలు ఉన్నారు, స్కూల్ వెళ్తారనే పిల్లలకి ఎలిమెంటరీ స్కూల్ లెవెల్లో 1 కిలోమీటర్. అందుకే మీరు చూస్తే చాలా మందికి అంగన్వాడీ స్కూల్సే కానీ, అంగన్వాడీ బడులే కానీ, ఎలిమెంటరీ స్కూల్స్ కానీ వాళ్ళు ఉన్న పరిసరాల ప్రాంతాల్లోనే ఉంటుంది 1 కిలోమీటర్. అదే ఒకవేళ పెద్ద పిల్లలు అంటే 6th 7th అంటే హైయర్ సెకండరీ కానీ సెకండరీ స్కూల్ లెవెల్ పిల్లలకు కానీ 3 నుంచి 5 కిలోమీటర్ లోపలే ఉండాలి. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళు చక్కగా నడుచుకుంటూ వెళ్ళి క్లాస్ అడ్మిట్ అవ్వచ్చు. సో ఇది వన్ ఆఫ్ ది ఇదొక కూడా అంశంగా చెప్పబడింది. సో ఈ అంశాలన్నీ మీ తెలుగు టెక్స్ట్ బుక్స్ లో కూడా ఉన్నాయమ్మా. ఈ రోజు మనము విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం గురించి మాట్లాడము. ఈ చట్టం కింద ఎలాంటి అంశాలు ఇవ్వబడిందో, అటు తల్లిదండ్రులకు ఇంటర్వ్యూ తీసుకొని అవసరం లేదు, పిల్లలకి ఎలాంటి ఫీజు మనం తీసుకొని అవసరం లేదు, ఫ్రీ అడ్మిషన్ ఇవ్వాలి, వాళ్ళని ఎలాంటి బేసిస్ లో వాళ్ళు దివ్యాంగులు అవ్వనివ్వండి ఎలాంటి స్థితిలో ఉన్నా వాళ్ళని తీసుకొచ్చి జాయిన్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఎలాంటి అడ్డంకులు తేవద్దు, పిల్లల డ్రాప్ అవుట్స్ అయితే మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళని అడ్మిట్ చేయాలి క్లాస్ లో, లేదా ఎలాంటి రీజన్స్ బట్టి వాళ్ళు ఆ స్కూల్లో ఇష్టం లేదు మేడం మేము వేరే స్కూల్లో వెళ్ళి చదువుతాము, గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్ అంటే ఈ స్కూల్ నుంచి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ తీసుకుని ఆ స్కూల్ కి వెళ్ళొచ్చు. 25% ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్స్ లో ఇలాంటి పిల్లలకు రిజర్వేషన్ ఇచ్చారు. ఈ రిజర్వేషన్ డబ్బులు స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఇద్దరు కలిపి ఇలాంటి పిల్లలకు ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్స్ లో ఫండింగ్ అండర్ ది యాక్ట్ లేదా ఈ విద్యా హక్కుల చట్టం క్రింద ఇవ్వబడిందమ్మా. తర్వాత వీళ్ళు స్కూల్స్ కూడా 1 కిలోమీటర్ ఎలిమెంటరీ, సెకండరీ స్కూల్స్ అయితే 3 నుంచి 5 కిలోమీటర్ పరిధిలోనే స్కూల్స్ కట్టబడి ఉండాలి. పిల్లలకి మంచి విద్య, ఉచితమైన విద్య, ట్యూషన్ ఫీజు కానీ అలాంటి ఫీజెస్ ఏమి తీసుకోకూడదు. ఇంకోటి ఇంకా ముఖ్యమైనది ఏంటంటే ఆల్రౌండ్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఎ చైల్డ్ కరికులం అనేది ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి అందుబాటులో ఉండేలాగా, భయం లేని అట్మాస్ఫియర్ లో పిల్లలు చదివేలాగా ఈ హక్కుల చట్టం అనేది వచ్చిందమ్మా. సో దీంతో విత్ దిస్ వి ఫినిష్ అవర్ రైట్ టు ఎడ్యుకేషన్ యాక్ట్ 2009. సో యాజ్ ఆఫ్ నౌ ఇప్పటి వరకు ఎవరికైనా ఏదైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ ఆస్క్ మీ. We spoke about Right to Education Act 2009, role of its school in its implementation. Most of the time they will speak what it will be a question given for sure in your examination. So as of now anyone has any doubts you can just ask me ma. And tomorrow's class we are going to discuss about policies and practices in teacher education. Tomorrow class we are going to discuss about 4.4 policies and practices in teacher education, which is very helpful for you all, because you as being a teacher educator, as you being a teacher who are going to become, you are now a student teacher. Now in the future you're going to become a teacher, so it is must and should that you should know about teacher education. Amma, as of now, anyone has any doubts, you can just ask me, ma. Amma, yes ma, cheppandi.
No doubts, ma'am. It's clear, ma'am. Topic is clear.
Topic is yes. Anybody else, ma?
No, ma'am. It's clear.
It's clear, ma. Okay, ma. Don't mind if students filing will use చేస్తున్నప్పుడు try to cooperate, ma. ఏం అనుకోవద్దు, because the main idea of mine is that everybody should know what is concept. So please try to understand, and I know you will.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma. Anything else, ma? Anyone else? Anyone has any doubts? And I'll ask sir if it is possible. I'll try to change the timings. Nitesh, any doubts, Nitesh?
No, ma'am. So far, no doubts, ma'am.
Nitesh, your voice.
Yeah, ma'am. I'm on the data, ma'am.
Okay, ma. So as of now, if there is any, if there are any changes in the timings, ma, I'm going to let you know. Even I will feel happy if it is there on, the timings will change from 10 to 11, it will be good. But I'll ask and I'll see to it, and if there are any changes, I'll let you know. But tomorrow, as usual, we will have class. That too, we're going to speak about the policies and practices in teacher education. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.